welcome to this episode of the Women's Empowered Health Solutions Yoga Series blog. I'm Rose Velasco, and today we're going to go over Bhujangasana, but I'm also going to be showing you something very important about Ashtanga Namaskar, where we lower down. And we left off last time in runner's lunge, Asana Sanchalasana. So we're going to pick up there, and then I'll take you through. And this is taking us through the series of the Classical Sun Salutations just a little bit further. So I hope you've been enjoying this so far, and let's get on with Bhujangasana or Cobra Pose. Oh, and at the end, after the pose, I'm going to read a little story out of this great book I love, Myths of the Asanas, because Bhujangasana, Cobra Pose, is in this book, and it's a wonderful story, especially during this time, because we are just about ready to come into the new moon in Leo. And this is all about being courageous and having courage to do things in our lives that we want to bring about. So I'm excited for this, and I hope you are too. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to come into Asana Sanchalasana or runner's lunge, where we left off last week. So I usually like to take it through all the way through. So we left off here in Asana Sanchalasana. Where we move next in this series, the Classical Sun Salutations series, if our hands are on the blocks and the blocks below our shoulders, we simply move the blocks out of the way, plant the hands, and step the left foot back to the top of a push-up. So moving into Ashtanga Namaskar or 8-limbed pose, we're going to lower the knees first and then exhale the chest and chin forward and down. But we want to keep the elbows into the sides, the shoulders back, and keep the head back too. We don't want to do any damage to the shoulders. We land with the chin and the chest, the toes and the hands. So this is called 8-limb pose or Ashtanga Namaskar because we have 2 hands, 2 knees, 2 feet, and a chin and a chest touching the mat. Moving into our Cobra Pose, we lower the hips and the tops of the feet, align the fingertips with the tops of the shoulders, and then keeping the elbows into the sides, just simply inhale, lifting up. I like to start this out with a baby cobra, keeping the pelvis and the belly button, the navel still connected, and then reaching the crown of the head forward. So this is a baby cobra. And now since cobras do not have hands to press them up, see if you could just lift the hands off of the mat here and notice the sensation in the back. Our feet are close together, just like a cobra's tail, and we're softening into the glutes. Tucking the chin slightly, gazing just at the front of our mat. So this is Bhujangasana. After Bhujangasana, we press the mat away from us. We don't peel ourselves off the mat. We pull the navel into the spine, press the mat away from us, and come back into child's pose where we rest. Awesome. So let's try that one more time. The lowering down, going from the top of a push-up or plank position down into Ashtanga Namaskar is very important. You want to keep the elbows into the sides. You want to keep the shoulders back. I see a lot of times in classes, the shoulders rolled forward, the head starts to turkey neck, and this can all do damage to the neck and to the shoulders. So let's try that one more time. We have our blocks. We inhale into extended Tadasana. Exhale, nice flat back hinging forward at the hip creases into Uttanasana. We place the hands on the blocks or on the mat to step the foot back about 4 feet, coming to that nice strong runner's lunge or a high lunge. A high lunge would be with the arms up. We're pressing the back of the right knee towards the ceiling, pressing down evenly through all four corners of the left foot. Gazing off into the distance, maybe at something that doesn't move, a drishti point to keep our balance. And remember that left knee should be directly above that left ankle, not forward from it. So here we are in our lunge pose, moving forward into the transition of cobra. Move the blocks, plant the hands, step the foot back, top of a push-up. In the top of a push-up, and we're not here very long, we want to have the core nice and tight, the belly drawing in towards the spine. The shoulders are just above the wrists. The hands are nice and wide. The fingers are nice and wide. We're pressing down through all four corners of the palm of the hand. And we lower the knees. Exhale the chest forward and down. Remember to keep the shoulders back, elbows in, all the way down to chest and chin. Lower the hips and the tops of the feet. Inhale up. You can take baby cobra, or you can come up a little bit higher. This pose is great for strengthening the back, lengthening the back and the neck. It's great for quieting the mind and finding your center. It's also a wonderful heart opener, and it helps us to stay grounded down through the pelvis. Good, lowering the chest, using the strength of the arms to press us up and back into child's pose. So we're leaving off in child's pose this time. And the next time we'll be moving into downward facing dog again. And then taking the foot forward into runner's lunge on the other side. I hope you've been enjoying this series, this yoga series, and that you're practicing these poses in your body. So when you go into a studio, you can feel comfortable and confident that you're doing the poses correctly to be able to support your body for a lifetime of practice. Now on to a little story time. And if you really like me reading you this story, please check out on my YouTube channel, Spiritual Story Time with Rose and Jamie. And every other week, either we read or we have a guest come on and read a section from a book that has changed their life and helped them to further along on their spiritual journey, on their quest of seeking the truth. So let's get started with Bhujangasana. I love this book. In Spiritual Story Time, it was started with a spiritual story time with Rose. And it really just started one evening. I had the house all to myself and I was like, you know, I feel like doing this story time. I feel like sharing what has helped me in my life on my journey and finding the truth for myself. And with all of the different studies and readings and cultures and stuff that I have studied through books, I have gathered a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit here and there and come up with my own spiritual recipe that works for me. And I'm like, I want to encourage other people to do the same thing because it's really, there's so many similarities out there with just little bits of difference. So what's in your spiritual recipe? Maybe watching Spiritual Story Time with Rose and Jamie can help you find that. All right, Bhujangasana. And this again is from Myths of the Asana, the stories at the heart of the yoga tradition by Alana Kaivalya and Arjuna Vanderkooj. Bhujangasana, or Cobra Pose, is a simple back bend that resembles its namesake. As we lie on our belly and use the muscles of the back to lift our head and chest, our chest and upper arms represent the hood of the cobra. Because snakes have no limbs, the hands are traditionally not used to push oneself up higher. The beauty of the beast. The cobra is a fearsome creature for most, but it is the friend of the yogi. Its many manifestations can help us on the yogic path as we stumble over obstacles, poisons, and fear. Shiva, for one, adorns himself with cobras. He drapes them around his neck, signifying a deep familiarity with the fear of death, or abhyavesha. The snake is a powerful symbol of our ability to relinquish all fear as we progress on a spiritual path. The way we give up fear is not by running from it, as some might do from the cobra, but by getting close to it and seeing it from a different perspective. Shiva's son Ganesh wears a cobra around his waist, not just as a homage to his father or as a means to hold in his pudgy belly, but as a symbol of his attempt to follow in his father teacher's footsteps. As a yoga disciple, Ganesh walks in his father's footsteps along the yogic path and shows his commitment to mastering his fears. The cobra was also used by the gods to churn the ocean of nectar. They tugged on both ends to stir the pot. In the myth about the tortoise pose, another pose in this book, the grip on the cobra by both the demigods and demons signified their mastery over their fear of death and their strong desire for immortality. It's similar to the Sanskrit chant, Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. This translates as lead me from the unreal to the real, from darkness into light, from death to immortality. The cobra often symbolizes death because of its poisonous nature. But in grabbing hold of it, the demigods and demons found that it was actually their route to immortality. The sound of the snake. According to Hatha Yoga Pradipika, the ultimate aim of the Hatha Yoga is to hear the internal sound, the most basic vibration, or as yogis call it, nadam. According to scientists, every aspect of the universe is composed of tiny vibrating strings, which makes everything from the cosmic to the subtle vibrate. Snakes have a built-in capacity to listen for subtle vibrations, and this amazing ability makes the cobra's potency as a yogic symbol even more powerful. One often conjures an image of snake charmers at the thought of the cobra, and it has long been said that the music of the charmer calmed the vicious beast. What is true of snakes, however, is that they have no external ears. In order to hear sound, they must contact a hard surface with their jaw to conduct the vibration into their oral nerves. This means that the snake listens through internal means, rather than through external means as humans do. Snakes hear on a much more subtle level than the snake charmer's external sound, which is powerful if one considers the potency of nadam, or internal sound. And the last part of this, lured by spiritual practice. While the great Buddha was meditating under the sacred Bodhi tree, a group of cobras gathered nearby, lulled by his quiet calm and inner confidence. He sensed their presence, but had no fear, and this fearlessness assured the snakes that he would remain still. His stillness was like a balm to their minds, and so they stayed close to him to protect him. Witnesses gathered around the Buddha, but would not venture too close for fear of disturbing the den of deadly snakes surrounding him. When it began to rain, the people became distressed about the Buddha's soaking head, but they dared not go near to cover him. The snakes, in gratitude to him for providing a quiet space, devised a plan to protect the Buddha from the elements. The king of the cobras slithered up behind him and drew himself up as tall as he could, which was difficult given his limbless nature. When he was at his full height, a third of his body lifted completely off the earth. He opened his great hood and created a large canopy under which the Buddha sat, sublimely peaceful, and continued his meditation. The observers gasped in awe at the generosity of the cobra, as well as the steadiness of the meditating Buddha. So the snake really represents courage and not falling fear on your spiritual path, or any path for that matter. And I thought that was pretty neat that it was really tying in around the same time as the new moon in Leo that's coming on Sunday. So I hope that you enjoyed that story. I hope that you enjoyed the demonstration of the Cobra or Bhujangasana pose. And I hope that if you have any questions, please contact me. You can respond to the email or email me at rosesarefree@rosevelasco.com. Thank you for being here. Thank you for reading my blog. Thank you for being a part of my world. I love you. Namaste. And Jai Bhagwan. Victory to your spirit.